If you've lost your job, at least you get to keep your health insurance for a little while, right? Well, it's true, but Cobra may not be your best option. Cobra is the Consolidated Omnibus Reconciliation Act, which you absolutely did not need to know, but welcome to YouTube. It was designed as a way to provide workers with some sense of peace of mind after losing coverage due to loss of employment. Now with Cobra, your first course of action is absolutely to contact your employer's HR department. However, if Cobra isn't for you, there are other options such as marketplace insurance, short-term medical plans, or possibly even Medicaid. Cobra is a way for you to continue with your exact same health coverage even after you are no longer employed through your employer, at least for a certain period of time. So under the ACA, if your employer has more than 50 full-time employees, then they must provide what is deemed affordable health insurance, and they must contribute at least 50% of the monthly premium. If you've had group health insurance in the past, if you've had insurance through your employer, you're probably very familiar with this. It's often deducted automatically from your weekly or bi-weekly paycheck. So should you lose your job and therefore lose your health insurance, you can actually continue with your exact same health coverage through Cobra. That means you don't have to change doctors or specialists or cancel any procedures that you may have planned. This opportunity will also be afforded to your spouse or dependents if they're covered. And this is often the easiest solution for people because it's a seamless transition. There's absolutely no gap in coverage. And even if you don't elect to enroll in Cobra right now, should you choose to elect in Cobra from within 60 days of that qualifying event, which would be the loss of coverage, then the coverage is actually retroactive, meaning it goes back to the date you lost your health insurance or lost your job. In fact, under the law, if your employer offers insurance to at least 20 full-time employees, then they must offer Cobra coverage when applicable. And you'll be eligible whether you've quit your job, you've lost your job, you were laid off. The only real exception is if you were fired due to gross misconduct. So don't steal. So when you sign up for Cobra, it's really sort of like a new enrollment period, and you can choose at this time to change plans if necessary, modify them in whatever way, and whatever was offered previously will continue to be offered. So that means dental, vision, and of course medical. A brief pause here. If you like what you're seeing, and we hope you do, please make sure to click that like button and subscribe as well to stay up to date. Also, if you do have questions about your health insurance, you can reach us in the comments below. We're happy to help answer any and all questions. You can also reach us at the number on the screen. We are licensed nationwide, and there is absolutely no charge for our services. All right, back to it. Now, you must make sure to sign up within 60 days of the loss of coverage. Now, usually you will be able to maintain your coverage through the end of the month. So even if you were fired or quit on the first of the month, usually that coverage would continue through the end of the month, but you need to confirm with your company's HR department. Your employer is supposed to provide a written election notice within 14 days, but you still need to stay on top of it because at the end of the day, it's your health insurance that's going to be impacted. Cobra coverage begins the day of the qualifying event and is retroactive. So again, as I mentioned earlier, it will go back and provide coverage from that 60 days. However, the cost is also retroactive, so even if you choose to enroll 60 days down the line, you're going to need to pay for those 60 days that you've technically already been using your Cobra coverage. You can stay enrolled through Cobra for a period of up to 18 months, although sometimes it's up to 36 months when Medicare is involved, and we're going to talk about that later in the video. You can cancel your Cobra coverage at any time. Maybe you've gotten a new job that's going to provide you with health insurance, or maybe it is the open enrollment for Marketplace and you're going to switch over to a Marketplace plan. Both fine and excellent options. However, the termination of Cobra does not count as a qualifying life event. So please don't just cancel Cobra and think, well, now I'll switch to a Marketplace plan if it's outside of the open enrollment. Now, because this is group health insurance that you've had in the past, it's likely going to provide you with enough support. But there are a few things that you need to take into consideration. For example, if you move into an entirely new geographical area, then you may not be within network anymore. Also, if your company goes out of business, then you're going to be out of luck as well. That being said, moving to a new geographical area or losing your Cobra coverage because your employer goes out of business would trigger a special enrollment period, so you could then choose to enroll in a Marketplace plan. You can also lose your Cobra coverage if you just don't pay it. Now, you've probably heard that Cobra is pretty darn expensive, and unfortunately, Yeah, that's true. And that's because of the way the insurance premiums worked when you were enrolled through your employer. So under the ACA, as I said, if your employer has more than 50 full-time employees, they must provide health insurance and contribute at least 50% of the monthly premium. But when you enroll in Cobra, your employer is no longer contributing their portion of the monthly premium. That means that you're now going to need to pay your portion plus your employer's portion. So you can expect that your payment is going to at least double, if not more. And then there can be a 2% administrative fee on top of that. So it's very easy to see why Cobra can be so darn expensive. And of course, this comes at the worst time when you no longer have an income provided by your employer. Now, because it's so expensive, you may want to look into other options such as a short-term health insurance plan, a marketplace plan, catastrophic coverage plan of varying sorts, or even Medicaid. If you become eligible for Medicare, when you enroll in Medicare, your Cobra coverage will automatically be terminated. Now, please make sure you enroll in Medicare Part B at this time. Do not defer it for any reason because Cobra is not considered creditable coverage. That means if you defer Medicare Part B in favor of keeping your Cobra coverage for some reason, when you do enroll in Medicare Part B, you may be subject to the late enrollment penalty, and that is 10% of the base beneficiary premium for each 12-month period where you were eligible for Medicare but did not enroll. And that gets tacked onto your monthly premium forever. So please do not hang on to Cobra when you're eligible for Medicare. Now, sometimes people want to hang on to Cobra when they're eligible for Medicare because they are also providing insurance for their spouse or their dependents. However, if you become eligible for Medicare, you go ahead and enroll in Medicare because your spouse or your dependents can actually keep their Cobra coverage for a period of up to 36 months when Medicare is involved. Cobra is very rarely your best option unless you are currently undergoing medical care that requires very specific insurance for a very specific specialist. I would highly encourage you to check out other options. Make sure to check out this video over here to learn more about some other options, and you can check out our playlist all about what to do if you're either self-employed or if you've lost your job and what your health insurance options may be. If you do have questions, you can reach us in the comments below or at the number on the screen. We are licensed nationwide and there's absolutely no charge for our services. And of course, before you go, please make sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date. We'll see you next time.